Hello everyone! Vietnam's economic transformation since the early 21st century stands as a testament to effective national long-term planning and rigorous policy implementation. From a low-income nation, once ravaged by war and poverty, Vietnam has emerged as a dynamic middle-income economy, showcasing resilience and adaptability. Agriculture has long been the backbone of Vietnam's economy. In the year 2000, agriculture accounted for 25% of the country's GDP. However, through investments in irrigation, technology, and training, Vietnam has increased its agricultural productivity and diversified its crops. The cornerstone of Vietnam's economic ascent was the Doi Moi, or renovation reforms initiated in 1986. These reforms transitioned the country from a centrally planned economy to a socialist-oriented market economy, fostering private sector development and encouraging foreign investment. According to the World Bank, Vietnam's GDP growth averaged 7.3% per annum between 2000 and 2020. In 2024, Vietnam's economy expanded by 7.1%, reaching a GDP of $476 billion. This growth was propelled by strong exports and robust foreign investment inflows. Vietnam also achieved a trade surplus of $25 billion. As a result, real GDP per capita surged from less than $700 in 1986 to about $4,500 by 2023. That's more than a six-fold increase. In this latest video by Africa Rebound, we highlight the key economic development policies and strategies propelling Vietnam's economic transformation. Vietnam's accession to the World Trade Organization back in 2007 really marked a significant milestone integrating the nation into the global trading system. This move facilitated trade agreements and opened up markets for Vietnamese goods. By 2024, exports grew by 14.3% to $405 billion, led by electronics, smartphones, clothing, and agricultural products. The government implemented policies to create a really conducive environment for foreign investors, including tax incentives and infrastructure development. In 2024, foreign direct investment inflows rose by 9% to $25 billion, underscoring Vietnam's appeal as a manufacturing hub. Major tech companies, including Samsung, Intel, LG, and Foxconn, have established manufacturing and research and development operations in Vietnam. In fact, Samsung alone has invested over $20 billion, making Vietnam its largest production base outside South Korea. The focus on industrial growth, particularly in manufacturing, has been pivotal to Vietnam's economic growth and development. The processing and manufacturing sector expanded by nearly 10% in 2024, reinforcing its role as a key driver of economic growth. Vietnam has performed exceptionally well in exports, becoming a global manufacturing and export powerhouse. In 2024, Vietnam's exports reached an impressive $405 billion, which is a 14% increase from 2023. Vietnam is a leading exporter of electronics, especially smartphones and semiconductors, contributing nearly 40% of total exports. Other key exports include textiles, footwear, furniture, and agricultural products like coffee, rice, and seafood. Vietnam is now ranked among the top 10 global exporters of electronics and a major player in the textile and garment industry. Major export markets include the United States, China, the European Union, and Japan, with the United States being the largest importer of Vietnamese goods. Vietnam's export success stems from its focus on value-added manufacturing, trade liberalization, and participation in global supply chains. Significant investments in infrastructure, especially in transportation and energy, have facilitated economic activities. Infrastructure development has been a key priority for the Vietnamese government. Between 2010 and 2020, Vietnam invested over $100 billion in infrastructure development, including roads, bridges, ports, and airports. By 2019, nearly 100% of the population had access to electricity, which is a substantial increase from just 14% in 1993. Vietnam's government has prioritized technology and innovation as pillars of its economic development strategy, particularly under its digital transformation program, Vision to 2030. The program aims to make Vietnam a global technology and innovation hub by focusing on digitizing government services, businesses, and society. Vietnam has made remarkable progress in technology acquisition and development, supported by government initiatives, foreign direct investment, and a growing tech talent pool. By continuing to invest in education, infrastructure, and innovation, Vietnam is well positioned to become a regional leader in technology. The government plans to increase research and development spending to 1.5% of GDP by 2030, focusing on artificial intelligence, robotics, and renewable energy technologies. Recognizing the importance of education and health, Vietnam achieved universal primary education in the early 2000s, with a net enrollment rate above 98%. Life expectancy also rose from 70 years in 1990 to 75 years in 2022, reflecting improvements in healthcare. Despite impressive growth, Vietnam faces challenges, including an aging population and environmental degradation. These challenges notwithstanding, the World Bank projects Vietnam's GDP growth to reach 6.5% in 2025, driven by increasing global demand and restored domestic consumer confidence. Achieving the aspiration of becoming a high-income country by 2045 will require sustained reforms, infrastructure investments, and a focus on sustainable development. Vietnam's economic transformation offers key lessons for Africa's developing nations. By prioritizing political stability with clear long-term plans, technology acquisition, industrialization, value addition, export-oriented growth, strategic trade policies, and human capital development, African nations can replicate Vietnam's success and drive sustainable economic development. Thanks for watching.